Hello to all. This is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanish World Networks on Single TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android. While you download, make sure to leave a comment. The app is free and it's available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today, I am very happy to have for the second time my good friend Mike. So this is great to have you here, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. I'm good, and like last time, it's already 11 p.m., so I'm tired, but I'm really excited to be on the show.
But the good thing is that you have a background that seems that you are like maybe at 11 a.m. or something like
Yeah,
that. So
sure. Fake it till you make it.
exactly. So there is a something that you started to talk about last time that we were here, that you were working in an entrepreneurship, and I believe it's more than an entrepreneurship. It's like a movement that you are creating to help people in different things. But I want you to explain a little bit more of what is that and exactly what you have in your left, the eternal echo.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Alejandro. And yeah, it's true. I mean, the cat is out of the hat, to say it like that. And since 1st of November, I'm an entrepreneur. So the last time I was on the show, I told you that I quit my job because I had another idea that I want to do, but I didn't want to reveal what it was. Now I'm happy to say that, yeah, I can start doing that. And this is also where I really believe the logo or the name of your show, Believe in Yourself and Believe in Your Business, because I think as an entrepreneur, believe is the biggest thing that you can have to just get started. And yeah, what am I doing now? You call it a movement. I see it also as an opportunity for a movement. And I also believe in that because I want to change the way how we remember our loved ones. And if I would ask you, Alejandro, so what do you know from your grandparents or great-grandparents or something more than, let's say, the name or maybe the date of birth or the date of death? What stays? And what would you give to your children, for instance?
Well, in my case, there is several things. In my point of view, there is a lot of things that, in regards of like codifications and genes that they give us, that I continue doing the same thing. I want to give you an example. For example, my grandfather was Italian, and he was in the Second War, and he had the idea of when you have food, you have to eat everything because that is very important for you because to survive. He ate when he can, not all the time because it was a war, and he kept that mindset of you have to eat there all the time. But suddenly I realized that my father was exactly the same, and myself, I was exactly the same. And I never have been in any type of war. So just to give you an example of something that I continue doing without even knowing why I was doing it.
Yeah. And these are things that you carry inside of you. So, but what is the wisdom? Let's say, Steph, what are things that happened to your grandfather or to your great grandparents where you would say, oh, this is something which I learned from them, or this is something where they can help me with their wisdom when I struggle? There is nothing, right?
No.
And I thought it's and I think it's a tragedy because we live in a time where we are not living anymore in ancient Alexandria, where they have the human library with those big rolls or something, and everything is noted. If you're not a celebrity and nobody makes a documentary about you and your life and what you think, or maybe you write a book, there is no way in order to keep all those memories alive. And I think that's a tragedy because when my grandparents passed away, 5 years ago, um, and they were gone, for instance, I was really sad about that fact. And the most depressing part actually was, so these are my grandparents here, and the most depressing part was actually at the funeral. They both died within 1 week, and at the funeral, the priest was just talking about, like it was like reading a CV, what they have done, but not who they actually were, and what kind of wisdom they gave to me. And as someone who wrote screenplays, did films, worked in marketing, and also now work as a coach, I thought I can do that better. And one of the things there, I just thought, what if we can find a way to actually capture memories of people and combine all those ancient things of writing books or anything like that, because nobody's reading anymore, with new technologies. So my dream, what I do with Eternal Echo, is that I capture the people who they are, and I digitalize their wisdom, so that, for instance, you can turn, and that is a big vision, to change the way how we see cemeteries. At the moment, when we go to a cemetery, we think a cemetery is a very sad place, which is quiet, where you have. But does it need to be like that? I mean, what if we have those assets, if we have the wisdom of people, and I don't talk about, let's say, an interview or doc film of an hour or 90 minutes. I just say capture the essence of what those people tell you, what they learned in life, and you digitalize it. That, for instance, you go to a cemetery, and you can scan, for instance, with a QR code or with augmented reality, the tombstone, and the story of that person comes to life, and the wisdom is shared with you, with other people. So all of a sudden, you turn a cemetery not from a sad, trist place, or from a place of grief, into a museum of wisdom, where you can also go there on a nice Sunday and feel inspired by the stories of the people who walked before us. And and that stuck in my head. And then I just thought, okay, let's build that.
Wow, that is amazing. And we have Dr. Nu talking. I hope that I am saying well your name.
Thank you.
I agree with you. This is like something different that I haven't heard about, and it's very interesting. So, how this idea started to develop in yourself? How you started to see, like, okay, let's create something like this. It was, yeah.
The last time we talked about authenticity, and some of the things were, okay, this is important for me. And all of a sudden, I realized, having done all those weird things in my life, so being a filmmaker, having written screenplays, be a marketeer for different industries, and also now a coach, I thought, how can I bring all that stuff together? And bam! So this was the thing. So it was actually triggered by 3 incidents, and legacy had a lot, very much to do with what happened to me in the last 5-6 years. So it started with the funeral of my grandparents. Then my wife, I told her the last time, I think, as well, she got a diagnosis of severe lung cancer, stage 4, and doctors gave her 3 to 6 months to live. And she's still here, so I'm really grateful for that. And it all helped in a way to change a little bit your mindset and think what is really important. And my wife also, she wrote a book about her life and the way how she's from Indonesia. When she came to Europe, how the cultural differences, things, how that all changed for her. Then, of course, the disease that she overcame. And so I was questioning myself. So what, in case she would die, what would happen with the kids, and what will they keep in mind? And are there ways where actually you could preserve all those stories and give it to children when they grow up? So in case you are ill and you can't see your kids growing up anymore. So this was something that was happening in my head. And then, and this is why I'm really loving to see that Nicole and Nu are also here, because we're also now joined all of a sudden, because I got approached by an anthology book that comes out this Friday, and it's called A Note to My Family. And it's an anthology book where around 23 people are writing their legacy. So legacy was all over the place. So I had this book that is now coming out, where I'm really grateful to be a co-author. Then the book of my wife, where the death of my grandparents, and the book of my wife, where she treats cancer as a teacher and as a friend, who actually helped her to develop in life. And so I was surrounded by that. And then when I realized that my job doesn't feel really authentic, because it's not who I am, and I actually just fulfill the ego of others, but not the mission that I have in life, with all the stuff that I did around, all of a sudden that stuff came together. And I thought, okay, it's clear. So I want to do this now. I want to change the way how we remember our loved ones. And doing this in such a way, I had the pleasure to actually already interview a couple of people. And it's one of the most beautiful things I have done in my life, because when you talk to people about how they want to be remembered and what was important about their life, the story goes to such a different level. And all of a sudden they speak about learnings from mistakes, from difficult times or challenges, how they overcome them. And I think this is all wisdom that we could share. I had the eldest person I interviewed so far, she's 95. So she's born 28. She was a half orphan during the Second World War. And she said to me, Mike, I really love what you're doing, and I'm really happy to be a part of that, because when you were, what you're capturing at the moment is an amazing chance for me to get my voice heard. Because at the moment, when I look at global politics, also what is going on in Europe, with right parties, populists, also like in the US, with Trump, you see that those groups all of a sudden get louder again. And all the people who has witnessed those times 80 years ago, or as children, they have no voice anymore. They're not alive. They can't speak anymore. They can't share their wisdom. And I'm doing that. And by giving those people a voice. And when she told me that, I got goosebumps. I just thought, okay, that's actually pretty powerful. And then I spoke to another person who, in Switzerland, I don't know if you know, it's one of the few countries where you can do assisted suicide. So if you need to be, you can't have any mental impairments, or not suffer under depression or something. So it must be a very conscious decision that you would like to do that, based on the fact that you may be that you're very sick, that you're under a lot of pain. And then with a lot of coaching, and they check you, and then you can actually say, I would like to commit suicide. And then you have the chance to do this in Switzerland. So it's that you just go to sleep. And so I talked to someone of that organization who is doing this in Switzerland, and he said to me, Mike, I love that, because it's self-determined. You say your self-determined legacy, and of how do you want to be remembered, and how you want to step out of your life. And on the other hand, you do something else because you help people to overcome their grief, because you give them something beautiful to remember.
Well,
I thought, well, that's great. So, and now I'm an entrepreneur. I just want to start that movement, and hopefully many people are watching and will support that movement, because Eternal Echo is now live, and I would love to record as many people as possible, with a network of around 700 coaches and 2,000 videographers around the globe. And if people say, I want to have my legacy, I want to do my legacy in such a way, I want to have a video that I can give to my loved ones, or you can actually say, my grandparents are still there, and it's Christmas time, so I want to give them the most precious gift, because I will preserve their voice and their laughter and their emotions and their feelings. So I give that to my grandparents as a gift. Yeah, reach out to me. More than happy to do this, because I think we live now in a time where we are digital. We can fuse technology, right? We can do all those things together. It doesn't need to be anymore in a book that somebody writes and then it gets dust somewhere. It can really be living things. And I actually believe that so at the moment, those videos, when I do an interview, it's around an hour or something where I speak with people. We have a couple of interviews before, and then we do the recording, and the recording is more or less an hour. But then I take out, let's say, 3-5 minutes of that video recording, and I just, and this is the wisdom of the person. So these are the most impressive things that they say, which I think that could be shared with everyone. So it's not just relevant for the family. It's something like, okay, this is what I would like to give to the world. And if you connect that, if it is a virtual cemetery, if it is on a, let's say, going to the world of Bitcoin or blockchain, if you put that digital asset in an NFT, for instance, or you create an NFT out of that digital asset, or you create that QR code and you just put it somewhere. I mean, it can even be on a death announcement, right? You can make it visible, and you can make it accessible for much more people. And I would love to have the first TED platform with people who are not here anymore and share their wisdom. So it's then not ideas worth spreading like in TED, but it's maybe wisdom worth spreading of other people. So let's do this. And thanks for joining me, because I love that.
I am loving it, and I will tell you something. Well, first, I believe Nicole and Dr. Nu are amazing. You are giving a lot of cheers and a lot of hearts. I want to open the door also to anybody that is in any social media that is listening to us live. You can write any question or any message. For sure, we can review it with Mike here. We have also Juan Carlos talking about wisdom worth spreading. So I completely agree with that. So if anybody has any question, please put it in the chat, and we will be more than happy to talk about that. I have a question, Mike, because right now I know that you are talking about people that maybe it's like my grandma, my grandpa, that maybe they need to leave a legacy. But let me tell you something. 4 years ago, for example, when I started the coaching, it's 5 years ago, when I started the coaching as a business, part of the thing that I did was define what was success for me.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, I wrote three words that I defined that as success for me. And for me was awareness, how much awareness I am getting, and how is my consciousness, is I am elevating it or not. Process, how I am like enjoying the process, not only looking for the end goal, but enjoying the process and everything that I am doing. And the third point was legacy. What is the legacy that I am leaving? and really, even everything that I started to do was because of my kids, because of the legacy that I want to live in the world, and everything that is about that. So what you are talking about here is exactly the same point. Is okay, what is your legacy? And it doesn't matter that, in my point of view, that you have 20 years, you have 30 years, you have 50 years, you have 90 years. We already have an idea of what is the legacy that we want to live if we are thinking about it.
If
Or
we're reflective, right? If you are reflective as a coach, but there are many people who are not reflecting, and
exactly.
yeah, and that's why I spread the offer as well. So of course, one target group who I want to get with Eternal Echo is definitely people who are in are not, let's say, in the last part of their life. But you're totally right. I mean, everyone literally is my customer, right? Because nobody gets out here alive. So it's just a fact. So, and I thought, how can I help people to reflect? So I have one product on the website, which is called Lifetime Echo. So the product where we're talking about all the time, which also is for me more that big vision of changing the way how we remember people, is the Afterlife Echo, and 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 the Lifetime Echo actually is a coaching program, because I would like to check in with people on an annual basis, 3 times, and help them to reflect. So, who are you now? Who do you want to be next year? And how do you get there? And usually, what I also see, and I have done a lot of coaching, or having been coached quite a lot in my life, what I saw was very often ended up with a big plan and say, okay, this is now what I need to do. And then a year later, I fell back in my old patterns because, yeah, there was a job and there was much to do. And I thought, okay, but maybe also with a Lifetime Echo, you could change that, because I had nothing that reminded me of my plan, maybe some notes, which I didn't look up anymore. But what if you check in with people on an annual basis, and when you define who you want to be in the next year, or how do you want to end 2024? So if I would ask you now, how do you want to end 2024? And we work on that and we figure out, okay, Alejandro, end of 2024 is that and that person and has achieved that and that. And we're recording it. And you keep it as a personal memory, as a personal manifestation of who you actually want to be. And you keep it with you. And you follow those things so that you have something like a little Alejandro on your back, necking you and saying, hey, stay on track, my friend. And this is then something also, when you do this, you don't need to do this every year, right? You can do it when you are at an important moment of your life, or you have a milestone ahead of you and you want to change something, or maybe you're becoming a parent and you say, okay, I would like to know, this is what what now is my mindset. And this is how I want to be as a parent. Look in a year or in two, if you manage to become that parent that you wished to be. And you have a recording of yourself, which is much more emotional, which is much more pushing you to really become that person that you want to be.
I love that. I completely love that. So if we start to do like the exercise of how you do it, so people can start to understand what is exactly that we are talking about here, because that's another thing. Not everybody has been in a coaching call or in this type of coaching, or so maybe even do the exercise right now to understand a little bit of what is the way you do it, and the way to ask the questions, so people can understand what is the process.
Yeah, it's a workshop program. It's really a coaching program that I developed, and I call it Discover Your Authentic Code, so that you really know who you truly are, and that workshop is split into 3 pillars. And the first pillar is more about your values. And I stay with the word authentic code because, yeah, as a marketeer, I need something which you can brand as your own thing, right? And so I thought the first pillar is decode your values, where we really talk about who are you, what is important for you, and what drives you. And the second pillar is about encode your legacy. So who do you want to be? Now we shift you into the future. And we look what are tangible steps in order to get there. And then the third pillar is record your narrative. So really self-awareness, push your self-awareness about who you actually now want to be, are, and how you should speak in order to not go back into the old mode or fall back into old patterns. And then helps you with the overcome or do your own transformation. So how do you overcome your challenges? How you can use those challenges as a catalyst for change, and how do you express that? So what is your unique story? How do you change that? And the last time I talked about my story, also about wearing a lot of masks in my life and just trying to unmask myself. And when you have that, this is when you're fully authentic, then you can inspire, you can heal, and you can leave a lasting impression on others. And that is a little bit how that program looks like. So without going too much into detail, because I would like to coach people, right? So
No, I
can do
have
that.
it in the past, just to let you know. For example, in the past, I had like people here that we do like some testing here. Like you start to do some questions that I answer. I don't have anything to hide. So it's a way of people looking at how is it, if they haven't been in anything like that, understand how is it. But before that, I want to hear about Juan Carlos' question. He's talking about if you have a magic wand, how would you eternal echo reach millions of people around the world? So if you can see that in
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Juan Carlos, for pushing that. Because, I mean, I start now something which has not been done before. It's totally new. So if I would have a magic wand, I would have unlimited resources to create awareness. So a platform like you helps me to give awareness. And I would like just to ensure that everybody on the planet knows that this is the way how they can immortalize themselves, and also that this exists to immortalize people who you love. If it's a gift for someone, that would be my magic wand. I would love just to make sure that as of now, nobody is reduced to mere names or dates after they're gone. That would be beautiful. Because then, and now we're talking about a new world at the moment where also we have the rise of AI. Imagine you would have, so my goal at the moment is, and I want to plan, I plan to save within the next 2 years 100,000 legacies with a network that I have, and trying to make that now really turn it into a movement. If I can't do that alone, right? If I would do 100,000 interviews, it wouldn't work. So I need people who believe in the same things that I believe and just join that. And so it's also not really about numbers. It's more about deeply changing the way how we connect to the past. And if we manage that in the time of AI, imagine you have all those 100,000 of videos of people. You could use AI to really focus on or get insights out of different generations. You could see what were for them the biggest hurdles, what were for them the biggest struggles. You can really create a lot of wisdom about generations with the help of AI to analyze what people are saying. And you could probably see that maybe that people who were suppressed by a government or by societal issues or anything like that, or cultures, that they probably developed other survival mechanisms, and it would be amazing to capture that and to create that. And I had today even a very interesting question from someone I talked to, because she said, "Oh, but if you have that also in the time of AI, don't you think it's spooky? Because if you have all those hours of videos of people, you could regenerate my grandmother when she's gone, and I could talk to her." I think, yeah, that's possible. I mean, it's an ethical question if you would like to do this, because I personally think that you should do also grieving and not try to outsmart grieving by just inventing your AI grandmother. But the possibility is there, right? You could do this for someone. And so and I love those thoughts. I mean, I feel a little bit like a pioneer at the moment, so just doing something. I have no clue if the world resonates with that idea, because I just started a couple of weeks ago. I just resonate with it, so that's why I'm doing it.
We have Dr. Nutt talking about authenticity is key. I agree 100% that it's maybe the most important thing. And what I am looking at during this program completely, we have Willie saying hi. Hello, Willie.
Hi, Willie.
So the question, I will do the question to you that I received from a coach when I talk about my word about legacy. Okay, legacy. I want to leave a legacy. And I was feeling like, okay, this is an amazing word, and that's exactly what I want to live. But the second question that person did was, okay, what is legacy? What is legacy for you? What is really... I know that we are talking about something very deep about the stories that we're living, but I want to hear from your point of view what is really legacy, and what is the legacy that you are living and you are planning to live.
So for me, personally, I don't want to wear any masks anymore, and I just want to continue with a very authentic life. And I had three learnings in my, let's say, also personal journey in the last couple of years, and that is something that I would love to put forward to not only to my children but also to others. First, so every challenge that happens in life is an invitation to learn something. So you should take it with gratitude. You should appreciate that challenge, and you should not reject it. You should actually ask yourself, what is in there for me to learn, even if it's painful, because we all know only when it's painful, this is when growth happens, right? And the second thing for me that I would like to teach my children and hope that they can really use this is that if challenges repeat, you might not haven't listened to the challenge, because if a challenge repeat, you need to look inside and not outside. And I speak there also from my personal experience, because when I had challenges and some of the things in my job always happened over and over again, I looked for external solutions. So probably I changed my job, I changed the country, I was just changing the environment and hope the problem is gone. And it was gone. I mean, it was gone for a couple of months or even for a couple of years, but then the same challenge hits you again in the face. So the only way to change this is to look inside. And I mean, I see many people who have the pleasure of coaching who always say the same stuff. Why is it always happening to me? Why am I always falling with the same, in love with the same kind of type of guy who is, treating me bad after a couple of years? Why is it always happening to me? All my friends have much better guys, but I always find that one. Yeah, I mean, you attract, right? The energy that you send out, you attract. And as long as you don't change your perspective on specific things, you attract the same kind of people, and the same kind of stuff is happening to you. And the only change that you can do is look inside and not outside. And the third part that I would like to teach to my children, and that was a very hard thing for me as well, is to show and embrace vulnerability. So, because this is the only way how you can build authentic connections to others. And so if you ask me what would be my legacy, I would love those 3 points to make sure that my children or the people who come after me will benefit from that, because it took me 47 years to figure that out.
And I am going to push you a little bit. You know that I am a coach too, so I love to do that.
Yeah,
So now I want you to imagine yourself in the last week of your life, and you start to see back. What do you see?
I see someone who actually was trying to please other egos for probably the half of his life, and then felt all of a sudden awaken. It was a painful process, but at the moment I just do what I love, and believe it or not, the connections that are happening at the moment, it's so weird. I have connections with people who I haven't had for so many times, and also many people who were very close to me in the last couple of years. I feel sorry on one hand, but I pushed them a little bit away because I felt that this is not what I need. And I would wish, if I would lay there and would say I have only 1 week, I would just wish that the people who are the closest to me, so my family, would be there, and they would say, hey, it's all good. You can let go, because you did a good job, and we learned a lot from you, and we love you, and that's everything that I want to know.
Awesome. There is a second question that Juan Carlos did, was talking about how coaches and around the world can help you or can help Eternal Echo to become a movement.
I mean, yes. I have there in the corner my email address, info@eternalecho.com. Write me. Let's have a chat. And I'd just like to invite as many coaches as possible to do this. I have a model how we can create that brand into a franchise system to just take it out all over in the world and build that. And I'm happy to give all the assets and all the support from my side, especially also with videographers. And let's get the ball moving, and let's do this in many, many countries. At the moment, I already translated the website so the website is now not only in German, it's also in English and in Spanish. Spanish also, thanks to Juan Carlos, who is helping me for Latin America. So that's great. I think also Latin America might have an easier access to legacy than, let's say, the more conservative Swiss people. I think if I look at how death and ancestors are celebrated in Mexico or in other Latin American countries, it might be it's actually pretty powerful to in a very positive way. And this is also funny, by the way. I got approached from many Swiss journalists now, and I'm on Sunday also in a big newspaper with a story of Eternal Echo, which I really like, so to get awareness. But most of the people, let's say 3 out of 4 journalists, ask me, is it as a marketing person not difficult, or as a coach, to speak with people about death? And I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not talking about death. I talk with people about life. I mean, it's a positive thing. I'm not speaking about death. Not at all. And those people, they also don't speak with me about death. They speak about what is important for their life. What are the most important things which they learned, which they would like to give further to others. This is a complete different discussion. And it's so weird that everybody asks me about that. And then when journalists want to make picture with me, most of the time they put me on a cemetery, which is also funny. But because I said, okay, I would like to change the way how we see cemeteries. But I mean, what I do with Eternal Echo is, it helps you to reflect on your life and to go with a smile because you have something that you can share with others. So it's a different thing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I love it. And we have Nicole talking about legacy is a subjective thing. It's individual and based on experiences. And I agree. That's exactly what we are talking about here. For example, even when I did that question to Mike about the last week, it's like he didn't talk about like what is the money that I left or the properties that I left or the thing that I left. And I believe each one of us, we start to connect with deeply with what is really important for us when you have that question done. So that it's I love what you are doing, Mike, and
Thanks.
I love also this part of thinking like previously what is really what I want to live, not what are my lessons. And maybe if you do this question and you are here listening to us, it's like maybe I haven't done that question before. It's a good time to do it right now. What do I want to live? What is really the legacy that I'm living? Is what the people that are going to be my last days are going to say about my life.
This is really important what you say, Alejandro. This is really, really important because most of the people think about that when it's too late. And this is also why I would like to do those annual check-ins to reflect with people, because you're not too young to think about, hey, what is the thing? And there is that amazing book, I don't know if you know that, from John Strzelecki, Big Five for Life, or Coffee at the End of the World, where he really thinks, okay, who are you? I mean, just ask the question, who are you? And not just, oh yeah, I'm a TV host or I'm a coach. No, who are you? Right? Who are you as a human being? What is important for you? What do you like to be? Because it's up to you. You can choose that. If you want to be a roller skater tomorrow, you go a roller skater. I don't. Right? You can do it. So, and people don't ask that, and they always. And this is also something which I also experienced. Right? You put yourself quite often in a victim stage where you just think, okay, yeah, this is now happening to me, and this is why I need to solve that first. Or I have no time. Maybe I think about my legacy next year. I mean, then you wasted 1 year of time where you actually could be 1 year ahead of where you are now. So just do those things right away. When you're listening to that now, I don't know how many listeners we have today, but if you listen to that today, just go to bed and think of who you are and who do you want to be. And then see, okay, where's the gap? Are you close to that? Or is there a gap? And if there's a gap, you have every day 24 hours in order to fix your gap.
And I want to tell you something, and everybody that is listening. For example, each time that I do a coaching, I do high performance coaching. Each time that I am having the first session, it's about focal points. What are the things that I want to achieve, the thing that I want to change? We are always looking for awareness and growth or anything like that. And it's very powerful because exactly what you are saying is like we don't ask this question of what is exactly what I want in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And something that is very curious when you start to do that and start to write it like, okay, this is exactly what I want, and you start to define it not only like I want to leave a legacy, that is great, that is a good starting point. Then start to define what is legacy for you. What is all the details that legacy means? And after that, you are going to see that suddenly, magically, in the next 2 months or maybe 1 month, I have seen it like even in 3 weeks, they are accomplishing the things that they are saying that they want to accomplish in 3 or 6 months. Why is that? Because you now have a focal point. You have something where you can put your energy. So what you're saying is if you plan at the end of your days, you are not developing and creating who you want to be. You are allowing everybody to create who you are going to be. The idea is that you take control of your life and you start to decide who you want to be.
And I think everybody needs a North Star, right? So you see many companies at the moment who have that new magic word. Before we had to build, as a marketeer, before you had to build a vision. Now it's all about, oh, we need to have purpose. I don't think that every company needs a purpose. I think a purpose helps them because it's their North Star, especially if there's a crisis. And but not everyone needs a purpose. Everyone needs clients and customers. So it needs to have something which adds value to somebody, but it doesn't really need that every company has a purpose. But now it's that word in the marketing industry where every company says, oh, we need to develop a purpose. So and then you spend money on that, you develop a purpose, but actually nobody. It's more or less in many companies just the marketing slide. And this is wrong because the purpose is, why are people there, right? Why are people coming to you, and why people want to work for you? Because I think every one of us, every human, wants to do something which is meaningful for them. And if you don't give people that chance, the fluctuation rate might be higher in companies, but also you miss the chance that you have people who stick with you if time is not as easy, so in challenging times. And it's the same. It counts also for life. Everybody wants to have a purpose in life, but nobody takes the time to think, okay, what is my purpose? And this is why I would like to do this on annual sessions or annual coaching touch points with my clients, to check in with them and say, hey, where are you now? And who are you now? And who do you want to be next year at that time? And let's manifest that. Let's record it. Let's really make sure that nobody can change what you're saying now, because you have it here digital recorded. This is what your promise to yourself is, who you want to be, and that little promise should sit in your neck for the next 365 days to make sure that you're really following on the track and you're becoming a better version of yourself. Because we have so many coaching books, so many stuff where people always say, oh yeah, you need to try to become every day a better person or a better version of yourself. Yes, but how? Right? People. So it's awesome that to try to do this, and I feel really equipped at the moment, and also with the feedback that I receive from so many people, and also that I'm allowed to be here on your show. that it seems to be something that has legs and that might be able to turn really into a movement, which would be my biggest wish.
So it's incredible, but we are already at the end of the show, and I want to thank everybody that was watching us, and even Nicole, Juan Carlos, and Dr. Nu, and several others, Willie, that were even chatting live. So thank you very much for being here. How, Mike, before we leave, just two things. We have less than 30 seconds, but tell me, what do you want to, like, how people can reach you? And maybe a last phrase that you want to leave everybody like thinking.
Okay, so let's say what I would people can reach me with the email address info@eternalecho.ch. If there's anybody out there who say I would like to be part of that, please reach out to me. Be it a coach, be it a videographer, or be it an investor. Even I don't care. I mean, happy because it can accelerate the process and the journey. And the only question I have to people, just go to bed tonight and ask yourself, who are you? And if you don't have an answer, let's talk.
I love that. Everybody's going to call you. So thank you, Mike. It was really a pleasure. For me, it's very nice to really talk this type of deep conversation and authentic and even vulnerable conversation, as you were saying, because you share a lot of vulnerabilities, and I love that. Thank you very much for that, and
Thanks,
thank you everyone that was listening to us. I believe if you want, we can have another show very soon, and we can continue developing this. Yeah.
I have one little thing, and I need to do this because I promised it to my wife. She's just at the moment in Indonesia because her father died, and that's the book, My Best Friend Cancer. It's out since last Friday. So if people suffer from cancer and need something that gives them hope, please get that book on Amazon. So, sorry, that was my advice.
Okay. No, I saw it several times, but yeah, for sure, that is key. So, thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for listening today. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.